No, it is a second line day. We are looking at the lines of gate 38, the fighter, the gate of opposition, and the second line is called politeness. This is, of course, our hermit, hiding away in their room, trying not to meet anyone who might influence them, keeping away from people so that they don't have to struggle. And when they do have to struggle, they do so ever so politely. The politeness could be a bit of a surprise too, because they don't know what's going to be pulled out of them. They don't know what's at the other end. Excuse me. The second line has a bit of a deceptive name here, and some people don't grasp it fully. So I will tell you what I read from what Ra has to say. All second lines are about projecting outwards, but they don't have depth. Not really. This is not a question of what is my struggle, or what they're looking to struggle for. This is a projection outward that they are a struggler, that they are a fighter. This projection outwards comes under this title of politeness, which doesn't mean these people are not struggling. It means that they struggle all the time. They just do it with this veneer of politeness over the top. It's, please, would you stop doing that? I don't want you to do that anymore. Okay, please. They can actually drive you a bit crazy with their politeness. The lifetime learning says opposition that does not transgress normal codes of behavior. And this kind of suggests that the first line can transgress normal codes of behavior. The struggle can be blown out of all proportion, which we saw in the first line yesterday. In the second line here, they don't want to get anybody else's struggle there. They're just not interested in anybody else's struggle, They don't want to get into the whole business of fighting other people or fighting people off. So when you bang on their window, instead of them screaming in your face and being really aggressive, they look at you very nicely and they smile and they say, please go away, very politely. So that's my BBC voice. Please go away. Second lines can seem very naive. Their experience of the world is quite limited because they're hermits and they don't really grasp what the other could possibly be. And they're often as surprised by what's pulled out of them as other people are to receive it. The exaltation says the value of discretion, the energy for the intuitive awareness for discretion. This is the pressure to be discreet. So, you're not wasting your energy in struggles that are not for you. And discretion is a word that comes up a lot when we look at these second lines. Ra was always really passionate about the need to educate second lines when it comes to the discretion of what call you answer, because you get called out all the time. And so teaching, especially our young second lines, to discern which is a good call and which is not, that's really an important part of our work if we're able to take that on. The detriment, an over politeness that is both servile and obviously superficial and defeats its very purpose. The energy for over politeness in terms of struggle, times of struggle. God, sorry, my mouth isn't working properly on this one. These people, they try to keep the struggle from getting out of hand. They don't want a big fight. They just very carefully coach everything in nice, polite terms. And you know right away that they're struggling with you, but they're really polite. And so they survive. But this politeness can really annoy other people. Why don't you just get angry? They'll say. And this is a classic confrontation from somebody who doesn't have gate 38. The person who doesn't have the 38, they are absorbing and amplifying that energy, that fight to struggle, or the energy to fight and struggle. And the 38 too is standing there saying, what are you upset about? What's the matter with you? Just calm down. And then the open 38 is going completely nuts. One of the things that is sometimes forgotten in human design by those of us who experiment with it, and I say this because I do it all the time, it's something that we're not always conscious of the other in terms of what we're putting out into the other. We might be conscious of what their design is and who they are and how they're operating, but we forget about us. And so one of the things Ra said is don't ever forget your own power. Look at your chart and be aware of what you're putting into everybody else. And remember that whatever you're putting into someone else, if they haven't got it there, you're going to get it back very strongly, because they may be open there, and then you're going to get that whole amplification right back at you. So in those moments when we get ourselves thrown back at us, we can learn to say, okay, thank you, and not take it personally, and not give others access to our energy so that they use it to turn it back on us. Who we are, we put into the other. And we have to be careful. There needs to be some responsibility around that. A lot of 38-28s get beaten up in life, not because they're looking for a fight, but because somebody else who is open in that channel takes on that energy and gets conditioned to want to fight, to want to struggle. They bring struggle into the world, and they're giving it back to that 38-28. So the grounding comes through gate 39, and the second line is called confrontation. Maybe the 38-2 is going to be polite about their fight and their struggle, but if there's the energy of confrontation underneath, do you think they'll get away with it a bit more? Or will they get deeper in, because they're also projecting out provocation and they're fighting and projecting out confrontation as well as the fight and everything else. This is a really tough combination. Okay, Mars is moving into gate 56 at 17:58, and this is a retrograde movement for Mars, and I would love it if somebody would like to tell me what Mars in retrograde means. I don't have any kind of an astrological background, so please, I invite you to educate me on this. I can tell you about gate 56. It is the throat gate that says, I believe. It is abstract collective circuitry, and it's the expression of the stream of sensing. It is the wanderer, forever searching for stimulating ideas that it can turn into stories to share with the collective. The moon has been in gate 54 since 8:13 this morning, the ambitious marrying maiden. Next, it moves into the head center and gate 61, the individual gate of inspiration that is called the gate of mystery, gate of inner truth. It's individual again, so it carries those same qualities as our current Sun-Earth combination. It doesn't want to be influenced. It is independent, perhaps melancholic, when there are no new inspirations lighting up its knowing. Gate 60 is our final gate of the day. We're back to the root here, and these moon gates are giving us a taste of the sun's journey over the next 5 weeks. We move towards the Rave New Year on January the 21st, and the sun takes us through this journey as well. This is the gate of limitation and acceptance. It is the format gate for the whole of the individual process. It's part of the channel of mutation. It has gate 3 at the other end. Okay, so that is us in the second line for gate 38. Thank you very much for joining me. I'll be back with the third line tomorrow. Until then, as always, go gently.